Hey guys! Well, nothing, Lucas?
Hello! Sorry, I'm playing League.
Yeah, Lucas is playing League of Legends.
Because League is the bomb diggity, yo.
Now, a couple
Let's
of
all go own with Kale and Ash.
Stop talking, it's my video. So
Yeah, you wanted me to talk.
So a couple of videos.
I don't talk.
So a couple. Oh my god. So a couple videos ago, I did the top 10 worst hats in Team Fortress 2. But some of that was just on my judgment. I just didn't like the hats. Today I'm going to be doing the video on the top 10 worst Team Fortress 2 weapons. Now I've done at least one weapon of each class. Actually, it's not the top 10. That's right. I'm doing the top 12. Forgot I was doing 12 because there were just 3 more than I just couldn't stand. So
just couldn't stand them, man.
So these 12 weapons are weapons that are, you know, not very useful and are rarely ever used in the game. And I'm hoping that you guys will agree with what I have in my opinion. But if you don't, that's okay. Just tell me what you think should be here. Remember, this is the worst weapons. So without further ado, I'm starting off with Scout with the Sun on a Stick. The Sun on a Stick is a melee weapon, and it does double damage against people on fire. And it does 25% less damage normally. This is you know, there are a lot of Scout weapons that are mediocre, but this is the worst because chances are Scouts aren't going to be fighting people on fire. They are going to die. And if people are on fire, you're going to shoot them, not melee them. Next up. Let's see. Next up. Cow Mangler for the soldier. Primary weapon. All of soldiers' rocket launchers are better. Plus the fact that this does, you know, only 20% to damage. It doesn't do crits. And does 10% base damage. It's just a terrible weapon. The only thing that has going for it is the charge shot and the fact that it doesn't have ammo, but it's a terrible weapon. Next up, the PHLOGISTINATOR. Now, the PHLOGISTINATOR has a great ability with the health and crit boost. It does 10% less damage, which is the same downside of the degreaser, but it also can't do critical hits randomly. So I get that alone. If it just had those, it'd be even. But it's this right here that makes it the most terrible pyro weapon ever. Lack of air blast. Valve tried to balance this by giving the man melter the ability to extinguish teammates, but with the inability to air blast means you cannot help defend your teammates from other sources of fire. So it's the worst flamethrower. I mean, there are sure a couple other pyro weapons that aren't really amazing, but of the, you know, the PHLOGISTINATOR takes the cake as being the worst because of its lack of air blast. Next up, another soldier weapon, the gunboats. Now, I don't use any of the buff banners. I use the stock shotgun, but at least with your 3 banners, you have something to help your team. The only thing the gunboats do for you is you take 60% less blast damage from rocket jumps. If you use the rocket jumper, this weapon is completely useless to you, and you actually can't do any damage with it, nor can you help people. It doesn't even give you any health. It just prevents you from taking as much damage, so it basically serves no purpose. Plus, the man trades are a lot better anyway. Short circuit for the engineer. I think the short circuit's kind of cool because it can destroy projectiles, but the fact that it has a really short range and uses 35 ammo, it doesn't do crits, and only does 15 damage even at melee range. It's a very limited weapon, and the engineer's pistol or the Wrangler is a far better substitute for your secondary. And why you would even want to use the short circuit, I don't know. For the demo man, the Alibaba's Wee Boots, or the bootlegger if you have the reskinned item. Now I'm all in favor of giving more health to a character, more base health. And if you're one of the people who uses either of the two shields, having having your turning control doubled while you're charging is great. However, if you have a shield and you have these boots, the only way you can really kill people is with your charge and with your melee. Demoman has no ranged weaponry, so the only time the Wii Boots or the Bootlegger is ever useful is in medieval mode, which, let's face it, is not a very popular mode. Next up, Fists of Steel. I think this will be one of the more controversial weapons here, but I think the Fists of Steel is the worst heavy weapon, because heavy already is slow, and the fact that it takes longer to switch your weapons means you're slower. The only thing this really has going for it is that you take 40% less range damage. However, you take 100% extra melee damage. I don't really get why, considering you have two giant shields on your arms. But let's face it, if you see somebody with the Fists of Steel, you're not going to shoot at them anyway. You're going to run straight up to them, and while it takes them 20% longer to switch weapons, you're going to beat the crud out of them with your melee. So, Fists of Steel, not really great. The only time it would ever really be helpful is in Man vs. Machine, when you're trying to run away to try to, get some health or ammo. Another popular item, the Big Earner. Now, Big Earner is pretty good because you get 30% cloak per kill, regardless of whether it's a regular kill or a backstab. But you have 25 less max health. Spy and Scout have the least amount of health out of all the characters, so the fact that you are taking 25 of the already low health Spy maximum health away makes them even weaker, and no amount of cloak can protect them from dying. Next up, the Darwin's Danger Shield. Similar to the boots. The gunboats for the soldier. This really doesn't do anything for you. In fact, all the Danger Shield does is give you 25 max health. It does not aid your teammates in any way, nor does it have any, negatives, so I guess in a way it's kind of a good weapon because it doesn't have any negatives. But I guess its negative is that you lose the complete inability to do anything for your secondary. You can't regain health or protect yourself from backstabs or throw piss at people. Instead, all you can do is just have a little bit more health, which there are lots of items in the game that give you extra health. This is probably the most controversial weapon in this list because it's so new and because people like it so much. But the Vaccinator. Now, although most people would say it's nice to be able to have 4 mini Uber charges and to have the different resistances of the four mediguns, it's in my opinion the most useless because Quick Fix, his Uber, basically heals anyone and anything in under a second. Kritzkrieg lets you do double damage, and Uber Charge protects you from all damage. While the most this does is give you a good 85% less damage. So, although it's nice that you have technically 4 miniature Uber Charges, of the 4 different types of Uber Charges, this is the least useful. Yeah. Second to last, Conniver's Kunai. This is kind of an interesting weapon because you absorb the health of your victim when you backstab them, and it gives you 65 less maximum health. So essentially, it's kind of like the Big Earner, except a little bit more. Except you get a little bit more from it. I really think this should be called the Big Earner because you get a bigger reward. Similar to the Big Earner, I don't like this weapon because you start off with 65 less maximum health, so technically I think you only have half of your maximum health. Would have been base. So, Kunai vs. Kunai just makes Spy really weak. With a Spy, you're going to die a lot, and so you need as much health as you can get. And last but not least, the Cleaner's Carbine. whoever came up with this weapon, I think, should get fired. Because, I mean, most people for sniper, for their secondaries, either use the base SMG, the Girati, or the Razorback, and I don't like the Razorback that much anyway. But the fact that this is basically the exact same as the SMG, well, it isn't. Shoots 33% slower, has 20% less clip size, and does not do random crits. And the only positive you get out of it is if you kill someone with the Cleaner's Carbine, you get 3 seconds of 100% crits. So, I don't know if you're planning on SMGing someone and then using more SMG attack, or if you're going to melee them, or attempt to, like, no-scope someone. But having a crappy weapon only to get 3 seconds worth of guaranteed crits, it's just terrible, which is why the Cleaner's Carbine is, in my opinion, the worst weapon in the game. I mean, second only to, like, the gunboats, because no one uses them. So, those were the 12 worst TF2 weapons in my opinion. So, tell me what you think. I've been eating peanuts this whole time, so I'd like to hear from you, the peanut gallery. And I hope you had fun watching this, and I hope you will respect my opinion enough to tell me your opinion. So, until next time, I'm at a gross freak, and thanks for watching.